Okay, let's just dive right in. For years, a lot of us saw AI as this little experiment, a technical project tucked away in the IT department. Well, that era is completely over. Today, AI is a core enterprise capability, and that means it demands strategic oversight from the very top. We're talking about a whole new kind of governance, one that's built for the boardroom.
And look, the stakes here, they could not be higher. This quote puts it in the exact language a board understands: material risk. We're not just talking about some buggy software. We are talking about failures that can absolutely hammer a company's brand, its balance sheet, and its legal standing. The cost of just doing nothing is simply too great to ignore.
So let's be super clear. This is not an IT issue anymore. Because AI touches every single part of the business, from strategy and finance to customer trust and cybersecurity, its governance has become a fundamental, non-negotiable fiduciary responsibility for the board.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how this breaks down the concerns across the entire C-suite. You've got the CEO who's focused on competitive advantage. The COO is worried about operational reliability. The CFO, financial integrity, of course. And the CTO is all about security. See, each executive has their own piece of the puzzle, but the board's role is totally unique. They have the fiduciary duty to oversee the entire enterprise risk landscape.
So how in the world do you get your arms around something so complex? Well, it starts with the simple truth. You can't govern what you can't classify. This is the core logic of the whole framework we're exploring. It all begins with sorting your AI systems in a really structured way. And that brings us to the central question every single organization has to answer. How do you distinguish a low-stakes internal experiment from a system that could pose a critical risk to the entire company? The answer, it turns out, lies in a clear classification system. And boom, here is that system in action. This is the AI risk classification framework. It's a beautifully simple 4-tier model that lets you apply proportional controls. So, low-risk tools down in Tier 4, they get standard IT governance. But as you move up the tiers, the scrutiny intensifies a lot. This makes sure your governance efforts are laser-focused where they matter most.
So let's zoom in on the most crucial one, Tier 1. These are the systems with the potential to cause significant harm. Think automated underwriting or systems that impact financial reporting. These aren't just getting reviewed by some committee. They demand direct board-level reporting and oversight. This is where the board's attention has to be the sharpest. Okay, so with that risk framework in our back pocket, let's look at the specific actionable duties of the board. It's not enough to just be aware of the risk. The board needs a clear mandate for how it's going to oversee it.
And here they are, 5 crystal clear responsibilities. The board has to approve the overall AI strategy. They need to directly oversee those material AI risks we just identified. They have to review any high-risk deployments before they go live. They must ensure the company is ready for new regulations. And finally, they have to get quarterly reports to track all of it. This is what active, engaged governance really looks like.
Now, if the internal risks weren't enough to create a sense of urgency, the external landscape certainly is. We're shifting from just internal best practices to unavoidable external compliance imperatives. The regulators are definitely coming.
And the most prominent example of this is the EU AI Act. It's setting a global benchmark for how AI is going to be regulated, and its core logic is built on the exact same risk-based approach we've been talking about. And trust me, what happens in the EU will not stay in the EU. This is the direction of travel for global regulation.
This slide is so important because it shows you the direct payoff of having a strong internal framework. On the left, you see the requirements from the EU AI Act, things like documentation, transparency, human oversight. And on the right, you see the internal controls from our framework. They're practically a mirror image. The bottom line is this: strong governance isn't just good practice, it's your key to regulatory compliance.
All right, so we've defined the problem. We've got the framework. But how do you actually make it happen? We need a clear, actionable plan to move from theory to execution.
And here is that roadmap. It's broken down into 3 totally manageable phases. Phase 1 is all about laying the foundation, establishing your governance committee, creating your AI inventory in the first 3 months. Phase 2 focuses on integrating controls. And Phase 3, over the next year and a half, is about achieving true maturity and optimization. It's a marathon, not a sprint, but it's a clear path forward.
And to make this even more concrete, here are the board's specific targets. The objective is to hit Level 3 maturity. That means having risk-tiered governance fully implemented within 12 months. From there, the goal is Level 4, with fully integrated enterprise controls within 24 months.
These are clear, measurable goals the board can adopt and track progress against.
So, as you head down this path, what are the key risks that have to stay on the board's radar at all times? They include things like regulatory enforcement actions, serious brand damage, cyber attacks that exploit AI, and this growing problem of shadow AI. That's the unauthorized and ungoverned use of AI tools by employees. These are the persistent threats that effective governance is designed to mitigate. So, when you boil it all down, what is AI governance? It is not about slowing down innovation. It's about enabling it with accountability. It's a strategic framework that turns a potential liability into a source of competitive advantage, trust, and long-term resilience. It's how you win with AI responsibly.
Which leaves us with one final, crucial question for every board out there to consider. Right now, is your approach to AI governance a strategic enabler that's preparing you for the future? Or is it your next material weakness, just waiting to be exposed? The time to answer that question is now.